HooHooHooRobin.
Mike Baker in studio.
Mike. Yeah.
How are you, buddy?
How you doing?
Fat Boy Slim's very good.
You like Fat Boy?
You like Fat Boy?
Yeah, I was in the UK living there and working when he was kind of at the height.
Oh wow!
His real name's Norman something, isn't it?
No, it's Fat Boy.
Just Fat Boy.
Yeah, it is
Fat Boy.
Fat Boy. Yeah, his parents had a sense of humor.
I have his genes. He gave us jeans, Fat Boy Slim jeans.
Yeah, his jeans.
Oh, not his personal ones.
Family member.
Oh, his jeans. I have his DNA on my gums.
As a memento. Yeah, I wanted to have my pants.
Oh, that's right. He was in studio once, too. I forgot
Yeah, so I'm
about
saying
that.
we interviewed him, and he had...
I forgot all about that time.
Oh, yeah, he brought jeans.
That's right. We all got jeans. Mine didn't fit.
Mine didn't either, but I might be able to wear them
They
now.
were like a slim fit or something.
Well, yeah, now I could probably wear them.
You were Fat Boy, now
Skinny
you're Slim.
jeans.
Yeah, I could fucking
Look at
moonwalk
you.
in them.
Skinny jeans by Fat Boy Slim. What? Mike, what are you doing, man? What's
going on?
Yeah, well, thank you, by the way. Yeah, that's always a great.
We have no
much
choice.
Appreciated.
You're a very powerful man.
I know. I'm coming in today. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good. Thank you.
You make your own rules.
Yeah. No, you know what? Just the usual business, running around. I've been busy. Actually, the only bit of new news is I've been filming a new series for the Travel Channel.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't have the coordinated promo thing for it yet, so I'm not supposed to talk much about it. But it's going to be a great show. It's going to air in the fall, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Is it a cooking show?
It is a cooking show. Yeah.
Mike Baker cooks.
Exactly.
Yes. Mike Baker, candlestick maker.
Yeah, it's a baking show. That would be interesting.
Yeah, Jim
Mike
Wright is the first
Baker.
guest on the first episode. We make cupcakes, and it's really very touching.
Mike's into it. There's a bug in there, like a little electronic listening device.
By the way, you bring the number down to 4. Exactly 4 people we now know that do not have television shows.
No kidding.
Everyone we know has TV shows.
I know. They lowered the bar so much they finally got to me.
No, that's good, man. I'm saying that everyone we know is doing really great.
Yeah, it's
humiliating.
quite amazing.
Well, when they give the green light to talk about it and say what it's actually about and when it's going to air and everything, then if you
Can we say the name at least?
Okay, I'll come on in. It's going to be called America Declassified. I don't know if I just gave away a secret or not.
Well, you know what?
They're probably going to kick me out. They're going to cut everything out of the show.
That's it.
That's it. We're
Yeah,
sorry.
get some other guy.
Yeah, that's
but they're
stupid
doing
to get
a
the
great
name of the
job.
show out there.
Yeah.
Of course that helps.
What are they going to do? But it's a great format. It's going to be a lot of fun traveling around the country. You know, talking to some terrific people.
But haven't you already traveled around the country?
Yeah.
But in this
tell us about it.
capacity.
Where do you go?
Yeah, all over. I mean, literally all over.
Libya?
Yeah. No. It's in the U.S. So this first season's going to be in the U.S. They're already talking about a second season. Wow. So that will probably be overseas, maybe.
Mike, did you pitch the show, or did they come to you?
No, they oddly enough they called and said we'd be interested.
That's going to drive Jimmy nuts.
No, not at all. I was wondering if he pitched
It's
it.
going to drive you nuts a little bit, though.
Nah,
that they're just calling him today. You want to do TV? Because Jimmy obviously deserves to be on TV at this point, but
I think
he's a
all
little
do.
frustrated.
Well, they asked me if I thought that Jim would be interested, and I said I don't think so. But, but I've got some free time. And I don't even have his number, and I don't know how you'd get a hold of him.
Totally blocked him.
No, that actually bothers me less. If Mike said I put it together and then pitched it, I would want to know, like, what exactly did you,
Okay.
like, you know,
Right.
if someone
Yeah,
calls,
yeah.
Mike's a handsome dude on TV, and he's very bright guy. And
He's a bright guy.
Yeah, you're good on TV.
Yeah, no, but it was literally just saying. I think they were looking for someone with a somewhat of a background like mine. I don't know what that means.
Sure.
I'm getting lost in the weeds because I guess I'm not supposed to talk about it. But trust me, in the fall, this thing's going to hit like a
Are you doing TV today?
preemptive strike. A little bit of Fox, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because enough with the tie.
Yeah.
What?
I got
Enough
wear
of
the
the
tie.
tie.
I know. I got to wear the tie.
Well,
Gotta wear the tie.
No, it's
yeah.
okay if he's going on TV.
Yeah. Plus, I got some business to do. I got to meet some. I got to meet some clients.
Do you have some
Meet
Friday
some people.
casual clothes that you put on every once in a while? Those Friday casuals?
Friday Fraud Investigations Day, and occasionally.
That's the worst, like, casual day at the office.
I know. No,
and the manager's dressed down.
I moved to Idaho. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I
You
moved
said
to
that last
Idaho.
time. Did
you?
Yeah, and so I rarely
something.
wear. I actually had to dig around in my closet and find my ties and suits to come back out to New York.
Well, you really wanted to be where TV was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mecca out there.
Why?
Is Idaho slow?
Yeah.
Is it slow?
No, it's great. It's actually
You love it, huh?
It's really, really good.
You have
Great
family out
quality.
there?
Like
You just
more for your
my
money.
wife's from there. My wife's got
okay.
family out there, and you know, we always go out there to go. You know, we raft and climb and
Oh, man,
ski and
that's
do all that
great.
crap. And you know, I got 3 little boys. And so before they hit school, I thought now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
So they're loving it out there. You
Got
know,
a chunk of land.
get up there, get a little bit of land, but Boise, the town that we're in, is a great town, fantastic town. You know, it's it's a very, I mean, it's an interesting place. You think about Idaho, and you think about it going to be very sort of compound-like,
That's
right?
what we think.
It's not like that. But Boise's a university town. It's probably the only liberal part of Idaho, but it makes it interesting, right? You know, so great. Yeah. So anyway, it's really good fun. The people are fantastic. Can't say enough about them.
I bet your money.
Great.
I bet your money goes a long way there too.
Right? Well, that was the thing. You know, I came. You know what I did? I came home off the train one day because my main office for diligence for all your information and security needs is right here in New York, and so I came off the Metro North, and I lived out in New Canaan, and the train, you know what it's like. The train smelled like piss, and it was hot and humid, and I was kind of watching all these people on the train.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, some of them were very good friends, and I was thinking, you know, you get on this 5:30 train heading into Midtown, you know, your kids aren't even awake. You come home at night, and I knew a couple of guys that retired from banking that did that for 30 years.
Oof.
And so anyway, I'm sitting there one day on the train, I'm thinking about this. I walk into my house, I'm making a drink, and I'm looking at my wife, and I said, you know, I don't think I need to do this from New York. I mean, I got a great staff. They keep the trains running on time. Everything's good. I said, all I do is travel. And so within a week, she had the house on the market. Literally inside a week.
She wanted
house
out
was on the market. She wanted out too. So the whole thing, soup to nuts, took no time at all. It was really
man.
good.
And you're happy you did it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I mean, my boys' kindergarten class this past year, twice a week, they put them on a bus, take them up to the local ski resort, and they go skiing during the day.
Man.
And you know, I can throw a couple of them in the car. We get in the truck, we drive a mile, and we're fly fishing.
Yeah.
You know, and then I jump on a plane. I can be in New York or Los Angeles or wherever. So.
Yeah, you realize, you know, especially in the electronic age, you could do a lot from a distance.
From anywhere. You don't have to be in one particular location. I mean, you do. I mean, it's, you know, I don't get me wrong. I feel, you know, I don't take it for granted. I feel very fortunate. But I've worked my ass off to build up a company, right? I mean, I completely busted my ass for the past 10 years or so since I got out of the outfit.
But why don't companies fully accept that yet?
You know,
where most of their employees absolutely could do their jobs from home.
You know, it's like people want to see them at the desk.
I know, but why at this point?
You know, it's because it gives management comfort. If they walk in and they see everybody sitting at their desks, even if they're doing fuck all, they're just so it makes them feel good about it.
Right.
And you know that they're at a certain time. And you know, I remember when I started at the agency, not to bang on, I'm sorry, but when I started at the agency, before we got deployed on training, first time they had to find a place for you. So I came in, I sat down on a desk and dealing with a particular issue overseas. And I remember that the boss said, well, everybody comes in, you know, here at 7:30 or whatever it was. You know, I want everybody here at 7:30. So I came in at 7:30, and everybody was sitting around eating donuts and drinking coffee until about 9 o'clock, and then everybody got down to business. So the next day I come in at 9 o'clock, and he says, what are you doing? I said, well, I can eat donuts at home. I don't need to be here to do that.
I'm sure he wanted to hear that from you.
And that started my career very well. Yeah.
All right, punk.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. They just want to have a little power over you and see your face.
Yeah.
They want to check up on you, see what you're doing.
Well, that's what happened to us. We had an amazing, space to do our radio show, but they needed to see us every day, I guess. So they moved us over here and put us in a smaller spot.
That's it.
Yeah. No, it gives people a certain level of comfort, and it's just complete bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
As long as the clients or whatever it is that you're doing, whatever service or whatever you're doing is providing, as long as the clients, the people that are paying you money to do that are happy, that's the only thing that matters.
That should, yeah. What do you think about the Bradley Manning verdict?
Well, I think he's going to spend a long time in military hard labor. I think that they overstepped with that whole. Yeah. It was a complete mess. People still had that sad campaign. I am Bradley Manning. Yeah.
I hate the I am campaign.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
God.
All stolen from Spike Lee, by the way.
Was it?
Yep, in Malcolm X. At the end, I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. I am Malcolm X. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's what it was effective for Malcolm X. It didn't work so well for Bradley Manning.
I said the same thing. I am Bradley Manning.
That wasn't good. But no, you know what? That whole idea that he was acquitted, because that was what a lot of people led with. He was acquitted for aiding the enemy, as if that was the
was the big charge.
Right, that was the big charge. It was never that was never going to be proven. That's a tough thing to prove. But everything else, he was found guilty on, and rightly so. This guy did a tremendous amount of damage. He released a lot of sources and methods, got people really screwed up. I mean, when you start telling our enemies overseas the names of our sources and people cooperating with the U.S. government, it doesn't end well for those people.
What was his motivation? Was it money, or was it...
for these people, and including Edward Snowden, the guy who's sitting in Moscow, for these people, usually they're just dysfunctional. They didn't get enough hugs. I don't want to oversimplify it, but it's literally, there's a sense of, I'm smarter than you are. You're not paying enough attention to me. You're not giving me enough credit. If you would listen to me, then everything would be fine.
That's how we feel as a radio show.
If you just had some secrets to leak, then you could make your point. But no, it's typically that's the way it is, whether you're talking about Snowden, Manning, Hansen, Nicholson, any of the guys who have committed major treason or any sort of act of this sort, whether you want to call it treason or not. I know there's a lot of people that think, Snowden's a hero.
Yeah.
Do you not believe their motivation, whether it's Julian Assange or any? Do you think do you believe that the motivation that they say motivated them at all?
No, I've been involved in a number of counterintelligence operations, looking at people that have been screwing us over, and. No, it's just, everybody wants to have a grand explanation for what they do.
Right.
And they always want to make it seem like it's bigger. And people that are supporting them want to think it's on a bigger stage, some big vision of protecting the Constitution. It's almost always crap. And I hate to say that. It sounds very cynical, but that's just the way these people are. It's a very dysfunctional thing to do, if you think about it.
It really is. If you think about it, and a lot of times people buy this noble excuse of, I'm helping the people, but you were given a job to do, and certain restrictions were put on that job, and you have to adhere to them, or you're going to pay the consequences. Right. That's it.
If you feel your government, and I don't agree with these guys necessarily at all, but if you feel your government is not doing the right thing, or is being duplicitous with its own citizens, when is it appropriate to speak up?
Well, at the point where you resign, and at the point where you don't steal classified information, and then you can go to the press, and you can have a sort of a conversation if you want to. You're still going to be hauled in, and there's still going to be consequences, as you said. There's got to be consequences. You're signing agreements that say, if I have the responsibility of holding on to critical information, classified information. Now, don't get me wrong. The government definitely oversteps on classification of information.
Look.
They definitely overreach. That's a typical thing. They overclassify. But so if you sign those papers and then you decide, screw it, doesn't matter, I disagree with this. Well, where does that end? Because you get a lot of people in government who, again, will say, well, no, this isn't the way we should run this operation. We should run it this way. So is it all right for that person to go out there and say, no? Because ultimately, you can always fall back. If that excuse is okay, then everything's all right. And we keep lowering that bar.
But if it's never applicable, like if you sign those papers and there's always going to be a jail penalty, then what you've said to people is, once you're in this job, no matter what your government does, you cannot step out.
You have no recourse.
And call them. You have no recourse.
Yeah, but I mean, you could take it all of that way, I suppose. Right. And I don't disagree with the sense that, look, if you find out that the government is targeting you guys, I'm not saying that they are, but
what do you know?
What do you know? Then I, for one, would step out of the government bubble and say, hey, this is wrong. You can't be targeting over there.
Please.
Exactly. No one knows
that. Are you telling me that Jim Norton's been working for the government against them for the past 10 years?
Damn it.
That doesn't seem right.
They hired me to prove that Anthony Cumia said something nice once, and I've yet been able to find it.
I'm still denying it.
Anyway, but no, you're right. You can take it to all the way down the road and say, at some point, if you find out that the government is doing something horrendous, then you should have. And okay, when that day comes, and I'm sure that's fine, and you'll do that, and there'll be the public groundswell that say, oh my God, you mean whatever it is, it's so heinous.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no, there are consequences, and there's consequences for a reason. There's reasons why you have secrets, why you keep secrets. We provided now a great deal of information to the Chinese, to the Russians, to the terrorist elements out there about our capabilities within NSA, as an example. Talking about Snowden, Manning, the same thing. Provided a great deal of information about sources and methods of what we're doing overseas in operations.
Right.
And that's very damaging. And believe me, the Chinese and the Russians are very happy to take that information.
Oh, yeah. What do you think the Russians are sitting on Snowden?
They probably didn't ask him any questions.
No, I'm sure they didn't. They didn't sweep his computer. I'm sure that
Yeah, he's fine. What do you see happening with Snowden? Who wants him? Who doesn't?
I tell you, who doesn't want him is President Obama.
Yeah.
He has no interest in getting back. If he did, he would have picked up the phone to Xi, the Chinese head of state, when this thing first broke in Hong Kong, and he would have said diplomatically, we want him back. It would have been a head of state to head of state conversation. That's the way those things are done. And yet he acted as if it was beneath him. It was a legal matter, so we'll get some lawyers involved maybe. And when you're dealing with crap like this, it's not just what you say, it's who says it, right? So, and the other leaders pay very close attention to that. It was clear Obama had, just very little interest in this.
You think it was too embarrassing?
I just think he felt it was beneath him.
Really?
I think he still does. I think he probably, sits around and wonders, what's the big deal, in his own way. And I
Could
think
he have gotten him back by calling China directly?
Yeah. Well, people talk about we don't have a huge amount of leverage over China, but that's what you have to do to get him back. Now, would Xi have said, nah, fuck you, you're not going to get him back? Well, there's a chance that would have happened, but would China have blown up the relationship knowing that there would have been that conversation between the two heads of state? Probably not.
Yeah, this guy, it's like,
for this guy, exactly. But once that didn't happen,
for Charlie M.
You hung up on Vladimir Putin for Charlie M. For Charlie M. Nice. So that's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. The head of state call does mean a lot.
It means a lot. It means, and that's how you deliver these messages. But we did, and so once that didn't happen, and once Xi had his fun with us, and you have to remember the Chinese state was having a great time with us anyway, because we've been beating them over the head about cybersecurity and the fact that the Chinese for decades now have been stealing everything that they can get their hands on. I mean, they literally just hoover up everything. So the Chinese thought this was hilarious. I was about to say hilarious.
Oh, that's right. It's going to get Troy off the hook.
They thought this was hilarious. And so once he goes to Russia, there's no way in hell that Putin's going to want to be seen as less manly than Xi in China.
Right.
So he's definitely not going to play ball. And again, the only way that would have worked is if Obama had called Putin and said, we want him back.
Right. That would have had to be a public thing, wouldn't it? Wouldn't Putin have made it public that Obama called personally?
Obama should have made it public. Obama should have said, they should have come out and said, today, about 30 minutes ago, I placed a call to the head of state, and I said that we want this gentleman back. And with Putin, we have little leverage over Russia. When oil's at a certain price, the Russians just don't care. When it drops below a certain price, that's when they start listening to us again. But if we had gone to Russia and said, look, you either give him back, or we're going to have to just kind of rethink parts of our relationship, including this whole missile defense system in Europe that drives Putin crazy. Obama gave that away. He dropped the whole concept after we got our political allies, I'm getting in the weeds on it, to expend their capital with their populations to sell the idea. And then Obama says, nah, we don't need this missile defense thing. So if you went to Putin and said, you know what? We're going to actually take a look at that whole missile defense thing again. Give us him back. Putin would have done it. I mean,
Would Putin have thought? Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead.
Would Putin have thought that Obama would invest in such or have gone for such an amazingly grand thing over one guy? Like, would Putin have believed him or called his bluff and said, you're not going to go for this missile defense over this one idiot?
No, that's a really good point, because certainly by now the track record with the president is, they would probably have called his bluff. They probably would have thought at this point, no, I don't think he's going to the mat on this one, because there's been mixed messages and confused messages from the White House on foreign policy for a few years. I'm sounding real cynical. I don't mean to be dumping on the White House.
Yes, I do. What are you going to do, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's the thing's a mess, and Snowden's sitting there, and he'll probably, I think, 40 minutes later after you ask that question, I think he's probably gonna end up moving on to Bolivia or
somewhere in South America, Central America. Yeah. It just seems like if the president really does get involved and puts these ultimatums on these other leaders, that it puts such an importance on this guy that you got to start thinking, well, why is this guy so important? Why does the president himself want to call in favors to get him back? What does he know? How much did get out? Like, it's almost embarrassing for the White House to put so much energy to get him back.
Right.
Because why is it that important? And why can't he leave the airport? Like, what is that whole thing about?
Is he in the Moscow airport?
He's been there for months,
It's unbelievable. He's in the transit zone.
He's got to be bored shitless.
Well, you got duty-free liquor, right?
Oh, there you go.
Well, an hour in an airport's like 10 hours. So can you imagine being there for months?
Why can't he?
It's a lifetime. All you can do is watch CNN, International.
Yeah, International.
Shitty restaurants.
Why can't
maybe
he
a
leave the
Starbucks.
airport?
Maybe.
Why can't he? I don't get that whole thing.
Well, because he doesn't have a passport. They revoked his passport.
Who did, the U.S.?
The U.S. did. And
so go
there's
outside.
certain internet. Go outside, have a smoke.
Walk around.
Suddenly a van will pull up.
Right, throw him in there, and he's gone, huh? Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, and people will say, well, how come we just don't grab him? Well,
Right,
you can't grab him. He's on Russian soil, even though they say, the Russians are very funny. They're saying, hey, we can't, what are we supposed to do? He's in the transit zone. We can't do anything about this.
What's the transit zone? What's that mean?
It's like when you say I'm on my way to Indonesia, and I'm via Frankfurt. So I never actually leave the transit zone. It's considered sort of an international safe area, if you will.
Oh, you're between
you're between flights. You don't go outside of the security.
Right.
And so I'm still in the international transit area.
Right. Well, you know, when you do a transfer on an airline, you go to the airport. You don't have to go through security again because you're there and there. So he's got to stay in that.
He's got to stay in that little
area.
Yeah.
He's still in transit, technically, I guess.
Right. He's still waiting for his flight to take off.
That's hilarious.
Where's he sleeping?
You know what? I'm sure because Wikipedia has been providing legal support to him. Not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks has been providing support to him, resources and legal support.
Did they give him a little room there?
I think they gave him a cot and a hooker or whatever.
I don't know. Cot in the Russian.
The Russians
the
ran him there.
Oh yeah.
He's already in prison. Why do we need to put him in prison? That sounds awful.
Damn,
that's actually a good point.
I think it's probably better to be in prison.
Leave him there. Yeah.
Airports suck. They're
they
the worst.
do suck. They do suck.
Do you think that any Russians have spoken with him yet?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, the idea that, because this guy was a classic case of failing upwards, right? The reason why he was able to get, people say, how did this happen? How did he get access?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of reasons. One is we went, after 9/11, we went from, in the intelligence community, what was referred to as a need-to-know basis. Everything's compartmentalized. If you don't have a need to know about a particular operation, then you don't know about it. And that's how you keep secrets.
Right.
So, but then after 9/11, there was, that big outcry. Oh my God, how could you guys not have been keeping us safe better?
Talk to the FBI.
Right, all you people are talking. So it became a sort of a need to share and need to play well with others sort of thing. Once you do that, once you say, okay, our goal with all this classified information is to actually throw it in a big pot, give more people access to it, and make it easier to move it. By definition, you're making it easier for somebody like Snowden to grab it all. Then the other thing is, he got his clearances when he went to work as a guard at an NSA facility, right? So he's a guard. I mean, that's what he's doing. He's standing around watching people swipe their badges. But once you get your clearances in the world of government contracting, you're a pretty good commodity because any company that has government contracts, it needs to fill places, is looking for people with clearances. And if you got them, they don't have to pay to get you background investigated and go through that whole process.
Right.
So it's easier for that person to get a job and then get the next job and the next job, and that's kind of what he was doing. Until he ends up in a place where he's providing computer support. He's like an IT guy, wiping tapes and doing all the crap that has to be done to keep the systems running. And that gave him the ability to steal all this crap.
How did he steal it? What, do you just put a drive in and take it, and how do they know he's
I think he just made notes. I don't think
is it that easy to do, to just put in a fucking little fucking whatever drive and take it?
You'd like to think it'd be more than that, but it was
shoved it up his asshole.
It was whatever it was illegal, and it was against I'm sure it was against the fucking policy of.
Can you imagine he's on a flight and he's got like 28 USBs shoved up his ass? And he's got to take a dump and he's on
or one big G drive. 2 terabyte G drive.
But what is he doing right now in the airport?
Yeah,
that's right now. I want to know. Where is he right now? Are people just staring at him?
I know, that would be great. It's like an exhibit.
Yeah, they give him a little room? Why don't we know this info?
But the Russians are fantastic because they're playing this for all it's worth. Putin's certainly enjoying this. And they're just basically saying, look, we'd love to help, but how can we help you?
Yeah.
Because he's in the transit zone. He's not in Russia.
Can't just scoop him up.
Yeah, this would be impossible for us.
I know, it's officially a transit zone, though? It's not that... Really?
Yeah.
It's a technicality?
So without a passport, he can't leave because how's he going to... He has no way to get he doesn't have a visa. He doesn't have... So anyway, I think...
So as soon as he walks through security again, then he's fucked.
Well, unless he gets granted temporary asylum by the Russians. And that's what he's applied for.
So officially, no one can touch him in the airport.
Theoretically, that's right.
But the Russians can and would do what they want to do in their own country.
If they wanted to. They would
trick him into walking outside to have a cigarette or something.
If they wanted to help us.
How'd they get Bobby Fischer They got Bobby Fischer, didn't they? I mean, Bobby...
Now he's still in the transit zone, too.
Yeah, he's stuck. He's playing chess with fucking Snowden.
But in Japan, he got fucking nailed.
Yeah.
Right. They were going to extradite him back, and they didn't. He wound up getting asylum in Reykjavik, and a permanent home in Reykjavik. But how did they nail Bobby Fischer for playing a championship chess match in fucking Yugoslavia in '95, and they can't get this guy?
Because he's only smart at chess. When it comes to everything else, he's really stupid.
Putin loves alpha mailing anybody, especially our president.
Yeah.
It's because it's so easy anyway, but, you know, he's all Mr. Action. Out on horseback, shooting. Pathetic. What a guy.
Swimming.
Loves taking his shirt off.
Yeah.
So you think he'll end up down in Latin America somewhere?
I think so. Yeah, honestly, can you imagine, this is going to sound really cynical. People are going to say, oh, you're full of crap. But can you imagine the political operatives in the White House thinking to themselves, yeah, that's what we want. We want Snowden back here now, leading up to the midterm elections with a big trial on the front pages every day, talking about the NSA surveillance program, pissing off Obama's base, in part because of the program, in part because now they got this guy on trial that they consider to be a hero or a whistleblower at worst. Right. And, you know, so I'm honestly of the mindset that the reason why they didn't pick up the phone and make this an issue is because they really don't want it.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's Obama's base that is looking at this guy as a hero. You get the real liberal people, the Occupy Wall Street, the anonymous people. They look at him like, yeah, he bucked the system and did it. So then if you get Obama and his guys crucifying this guy, it doesn't look good. The
optics really bad. Yeah. So, and you got this weird thing where the libertarians and the far left now have joined forces in support of Snowden. It all things very surreal.
It's so strange.
Well, what happens to his apartment? Is it just sitting there with all his stuff?
Left like fucking Butch in Pulp Fiction.
Right.
Just whatever.
Or did the landlord finally say...
Stop by and make some waffles.
Did the landlord finally say enough and just throw his stuff out on the curb?
Yeah.
No, that's a good... Well, I'm sure it's taped off. I'm sure the...
It's got to be a weird. Yeah. It's got to be a weird feeling knowing you can never go home again.
When you think about that,
like he has to say goodbye to his life completely.
Everything.
Everything he knows and loves, he's had to say fuck it. All that's done.
But they don't think that, again, going back to people like Hansen and all these characters that have committed espionage and treason and similar acts over the years. They don't think like a normal person would. They don't sit there and think, well, no, see, now when I get caught, I will have really fucked over my family, the next generation of my family. This is what they're going to be known for, associated with me. I betrayed my country. I betrayed my age. Whatever it is, they don't think that way. They typically just think they're smarter. They're bulletproof. Things aren't going to happen to them.
Right.
They're going to show the world. Whatever their motivation is. I'm just saying, usually their motivation isn't particularly idealistic. So.
Yeah, it is a very selfish thing, and that's odd because you would think it's if you're for him that it's a very selfless thing, that he's sacrificing himself for the greater good of the people. Meanwhile, it's more of a me.
Right.
Look what I can do.
And people want
fuck everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. But people have been saying, oh, he's like the Henry David Thoreau, or he's like Martin Luther King. You think, what are you insane?
When they equate people that have nothing to do with the heroes of the past.
Well, let's ask Mike Baker about some other things.
Sure.
You following the Anthony Weiner thing? I know that's not in your wheelhouse, but
following it, he's living it. You're living it. Mike's a texter.
I love that he's not stepping down.
No, I think it's great.
It makes it so much fun.
I know. I mean, no, if he just disappeared, then what good is that? But, no, he's how dysfunctional is that? The best part of this story, from my perspective, is I don't know if you saw this news. He went out and he hired a local New York City private investigations firm. When the first part of this broke, back in whenever it was,
I did
remember
see this. I read
before
about
he
this.
actually
he spent like $40,000.
Spent a little over $40,000
to investigate what the fuck
was going on, right?
The whole time.
Exactly, to create a story.
Which is creepy, because then you're like, the investigator's going to finally turn to him and go, it's you idiot.
Hey, dummy.
Right? You guys are smart people.
And that would take about 5 minutes to find out, right? and then, of course, you'd be happy to give him an invoice for $40,000 after 5 minutes of work, But the point being is, it also looks like...
But people are looking at that like this shows how crazy he is that he spent the $40,000. No, he's trying to cover his ass, obviously.
Right.
And he knew he had to do something, so he's like, oh, fuck fuck, I actually got to hire an investigator. He probably, looked for the worst investigator possible in New York City.
Find the worst guy.
Right. But he had to do that, or people go, why aren't you trying to figure out who's fucking you over here?
Exactly.
Put him in a weird spot.
And then the idea is that there's a potential that he may have spent campaign money to pay for the investigation. So that right there is, now he's gone over from just being incredibly creepy and doing things that, really screwed up to, potentially something really problematic.
Maybe the investigator can also find Nicole's real killer.
Exactly.
That shit. Oh, really?
That shit. You're right.
I wouldn't even call him creepy, though. I really wouldn't. No. Not
really?
No, I'm not saying it's nice, but it's not creepy. He's not messaging children. He's not talking about rape. He's just a guy being a pervert.
The creepy part is that he got a second chance. He fucking blew that.
Right.
He was still doing it while he was doing photo shoots with his wife and his brand new kid.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fucking...
Right. And that he won't step down, and that he doesn't seem to think that there's a problem with it. And he doesn't seem to think it's an issue of character.
Character and judgment. A lack of good
and possibly
judgment.
an addiction that he probably should try to get.
Right. The mayor, you want a mayor of your city that shows that he can assess a situation, find the good and the bad, move toward the good, move on. Yeah, not a guy that has such poor judgment that he did this in his personal life. You can't have that.
But do we, even though I know you guys are technically right, it's weird that we put this little thing on politicians when almost all of them are hunks of garbage. If not in a sexual way, then in who they associate. That's why I didn't care about Obama and Jeremiah Wright, because all of them, Jeremiah Wright said some lousy stuff, but is Pat Robertson any better, saying that the U.S. was targeted for 9/11 because we support homosexuality? They all have shit friends, and they're all shit on some level. So, okay, Spitzer did it. Weiner did it. Sanford did it. We're going to go down the line. Clinton did it. Right. How many of them have been pigs before we finally go, hey, this comes with that job?
We were willing to accept the fact he was a pig, though. Yeah. We gave him the second chance, and he was doing okay. He was leading the polls.
Right. No, it's honestly, I think you're absolutely right in terms of we've lowered our expectations as to what to expect from public servants.
Right.
And in all honesty, I was sitting around the other day saying, why doesn't Weiner just go away? Why doesn't go leave? Go get a job somewhere.
We don't want him to leave.
No,
please stay.
It's making our radio show.
If we did a due diligence background on Weiner, or Spitzer or whomever, and we uncovered that they were doing whatever behavior it was, hookers or the sexting, the guy wouldn't get hired by a company. He wouldn't get hired by a firm.
Right.
He wouldn't have that chance. And Spitzer, in this outrage, came out and said, I'd have to fire somebody like Weiner if he was up to this sort of behavior. But you're right. It's both sides of the aisle, and it's the fact that we don't seem to be concerned about consequences anymore. We seem to have separated the idea that character actually matters for something.
But look, all we have here is the ability to look at someone's record and how they present themselves and take it at face value on trust. When they just blatantly fuck up like this and expose themselves to us, all we can really do is go, well, you screwed up. Look, I know they do too, but at least he's hiding it better than you. I mean, if you want to be completely cynical about it.
That's where I'm with Jimmy.
And that's the line we have. It's the only one we have, so that's the one we adhere to.
They're all pieces of shit.
Right. I agree.
But this was in the open. Big time in the open.
Remember how big scandals used to be?
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like we laugh at them. We're like,
we do.
Look at this guy.
And then they used to go away. If there was a scandal, the person would say, oh, geez, and then he would kind of slink away, and you wouldn't
This one was going away.
Gary Hart, where did he go?
This one was going away.
Yeah, no, you're right.
He had the chance. He had to kind of get his shit together.
He did blow with bad judgment.
He knew.
Yes.
That's a very diplomatic way to put it.
He knew he was going to try to come back and then go for, the mayor of New York City.
And like you said, he was leading in the polls, which was...
He was leading. He was at 26%, I believe, and now he's at 16. There's still 60% of the people supporting him.
Spitzer.
Is Spitzer leading as comptroller?
Oh,
Spitzer,
my God, is he?
That was the best part when he came out yesterday. Like, oh, my God, this guy's way creepier than me. He's got to drop out. Hurrah.
It's literally the fucking phoniness of people acting like we don't get why he did it. Like, there's plenty of married men that don't cheat and don't dirty text, but to act like we don't get it, like, oh, can you believe he sent a photo of his penis?
Right, Yeah,
Of course I can.
Yeah,
But what do they say? It's always the cover-up. It's not the fact that he was sexting.
Yeah.
It's the fact that he spent so much time lying about it. It's like Ryan Braun. You know,
Right.
he gets a 65-game suspension. You know, not so much because he was dope, and you know who isn't in the league apparently at this point.
Yeah, it
but he
seems
spent
so.
all that time lying about
That
it.
is true.
Yeah.
You tell the truth and people understand,
Right.
Paula Dean.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, there are certain things the truth.
Yeah, we do understand
Dean
why
showed you.
we understand why people lie, Mike Baker, for
There's
real,
still-
because that's not good enough.
There's
People
still
still
rock-
want to fucking hang you.
There's still rock, paper, scissors with the truth. Sometimes, ooh.
Jimmy's right.
Well, I think there are. Paul Dean's a good point. I think there are a couple of subjects out there that you can't fuck with.
Yeah.
And you can't, you know. So there's no coming back from some things.
Right. Yeah.
But Weiner shouldn't be surprised. He really had a second chance,
The
which
sex
we
thing
do
is-
give people.
The sex
you let
thing
a
we
little
give people
time go
second chances
by,
on, for
you
the
will
most part.
get a second chance in general, and he knew that was coming, his second chance, and that's why, you know, he fucking simply blew it.
Yeah.
He didn't get his shit together in time.
Sex, though, people are willing to forgive that after some time.
Yeah.
Which is odd, but some kind of criminal behavior.
Yeah.
Certain communities will forgive criminal behavior. That's been proven.
Well, redemption's not a bad. Redemption's a good thing, right?
Sure.
But it comes a little cheap nowadays in the States. We seem to have compressed the time that it takes.
Yeah,
As long as you
yeah.
get out there, you apologize with your spouse standing next to you.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
do a couple of things, and you're good. You know.
Cool, yeah.
You sticking around?
So we
You know
should
what?
take
I
a
gotta get going. I got
For real?
Yeah, I wish
Okay.
I could stick around because it's always my favorite morning when I
I
can
love
just
when you
hang
pop
out
in.
here.
It's
Yeah, there were a
fun,
couple
man.
other things I want to ask you about.
really
but
is
we
fun.
got Dana White coming.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely make space for him.
All right.
You guys will have me back to when I get the green light to promote the new show.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Okay.
please.
Of course.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it.
Hell
Thanks so
yes.
much.
Yeah, congratulations on the show, Mike.
Thank you, man. Thanks
we're,
so much.
We're all big fans. The show's going to be on the Travel Channel. It's called American Declassified, but we'll have more details.
Typical of Mike Baker, no real information.
Of course. Very vague. You should live in Montreal,
Once
Canada. All right, Mike. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy Idaho. We'll have Dana White next.
Robin, Robin, Robin,